Nice hat.
Thank you. Keeping it in the spirit of the season.
The evil season, apparently.
Yes, the season of sin. Season of the witch.
Yeah, how come there's not more like Halloween themed music that isn't like campy as crap? It's like I'm all aboard the Monster Mash, but like nobody takes Halloween seriously. Because if
Well,
we
so
did, it would be
here's
like, oh, this is a little too real.
so here's the thing. Most holidays are not going to have songs the way that like Christmas does.
Sure.
Number one. Number two, I think the thing with Halloween music is that there's a few standards that were never made for Halloween, but have just become associated. So, you got, Ghostbusters, The Time Warp.
Yep.
You could probably name on one hand of the songs that were written for Halloween parties, like the Monster Mash
Mm-hmm.
or Purple People Eater, that kind of thing.
Oh, that's a good one.
But when I make a Halloween playlist, I just include now I have songs that have like a creepy vibe or are from things that are, like I have the his Red Right Hand from the Scream movies, and I have a song from The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, like that kind of stuff.
Do you add Agatha all along?
Of course.
As you should.
Agatha All Alone is absolutely on there.
It's a banger.
It really is. Except I hate the end when she's like, and I killed Fluffy too, or whatever the dog's name
Oh,
is.
that makes it for me.
Yeah, but listen. Nobody likes when the dog dies in movies and TV. You
Are
can't
you
you can't
kidding?
be having that nonsense.
I was like, go get him, John Wick. Welcome, boys and girls, to yet another fantastic episode of the Sanctum Sanctorum podcast where comics and Christ culture collide. I am host number one, Joey.
And I am your resident number two, Chris.
Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween, the hollowest of
All
weens.
weens. I knew you were going to say that, and that's awesome.
It is the hollowiest ween.
What's your favorite candy to get on Halloween?
Well, okay, so the number one most popular candy on Halloween, do you know what it is?
Uh,
As per like trick-or-treaters or stuff that people buy to give out.
Snickers?
That is number two, my friend.
All right.
Snickers is number two.
Is it Rice Krispie treats?
No, it is an actual candy. It is a chocolate
All right.
candy, though.
Reese's?
Reese's Peanut Butter Cups
Yeah,
are
my
the number
favorite,
one.
actually.
Although I have to say, now as a kid, I remember getting candy, and I remember getting pennies. And once in a while, because we grew up in the Wild West, we got like somebody's homemade like candied apple or caramel apple or something like that.
Never would happen today.
No, you never would happen. And honestly, I wouldn't let my son take it either. Like I took them, but I would never do that if it was somebody I didn't know.
Yeah, even and I love our neighborhood. Like
Mm.
sometimes they hand out like pre-made bags of coloring books and crayons, and there's like a small something in there, and I'm always like, I don't know about that. How about you just give the Milky Way? How about that?
That's something that I kind of agree with as well. But the number one candy is Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, and it is also my favorite candy. But what I do like,
We're the same.
but what I do like is that idea of handing out stuff that's not candy. I think that's fun. I've seen people handing
Like
out
tracks.
you shut your mouth. I've seen people handing out toys, people handing out Pokemon cards, people handing out even other snacks like you said, Rice Krispie treats, bags of chips or pretzels. I think it's
Yep.
nice. It's a nice variety, and then it's like you've stocked my snack cabinet for a little bit.
Exactly. I
Little
love
little
that.
baggies of goldfish, that kind of thing. All right, so I have a question for you because this was posed to me, and I just thought it was an interesting question. If you had to watch the same movie for 24 hours, no breaks, You can't do other stuff while you're watching it. So you have to like watch it. Like you can think about whatever you want, but you can't like be on your phone or reading or working or something like that. Would you, one, pick a movie you love that you know that like you can enjoy every time you watch it? Or two, would you, well, actually three, two, would you pick the longest movie you could find so that you have to repeat it less times? Or three, would you watch something that you either hate or don't care about so you can kind of have it on but ignore it? And
I
then
would
I'll tell you
choose
what my wife said after you answer.
I would choose a movie that I hate that everyone else really likes in the attempt to understand it.
Okay, so you would make it into a project, essentially.
Correct. And I'll give you a perfect example. Avatar. I hate that movie.
Okay.
I don't get it. I think it's dumb. I think it's Pocahontas, because that's what it is. The second one is copy repeat. Everybody loves it. I don't get it. I would watch that thing for 24 hours to try to figure out what exactly is this thing that everybody else likes.
I feel that way about Interstellar. I would watch Interstellar just because I don't get it. Now, in my head, my first thought when I saw this question, my first thought was like, okay, so what's a movie that what are some movies that I love that I know I could watch on repeat? Like, I could watch, Ghostbusters over and over. I could watch Indiana Jones over and over.
Sure.
But then I was thinking, oh, maybe something like, The Hateful Eight or Zack Snyder's Justice League. Those are like 3-4 hours long. That would, less time I have to repeat it. But my wife made a good point. She would, and we're both big fans of musicals. She would watch a musical movie that she's unfamiliar with. Like maybe has seen before, but like doesn't know all the words, and use that to memorize all of it. So she pulled Hamilton, and she was like, I'd probably do Hamilton because I don't know a lot of the words to all the songs, and if I'm just watching it over and over again, I'll just take it as an opportunity to learn more of the lyrics. And it's something
It's
that
totally not throwing away your shot.
well, yeah, I mean, you might burn, but I thought that was an interesting way to look at it too.
1781.
The
There's
Battle
no good
of
spot for that.
Yorktown.
Although Wait For It is one of the best written songs I think I've ever heard. We could do an entire episode on Hamilton.
We could do
an
entire 2 episodes because Act 1 and Act 2 each deserve their own thing. Also, I don't know if you ever heard the Hamilton mixtape.
Oh yeah.
Okay. There's like a part 2, like the mixtape volume 2 or something that has the original version of Burn, which is the song that Eliza sings after she's found out about Hamilton's affair and all that. And I think it's so much better. There are just some lines in it that are like, oh, like that struck me so deeply. And
so good.
So it's always interesting when there's a musical that I've become so familiar with, and then I hear like the demos of like, this is what the lyrics used to be, or this is what the beat used to be, or whatever, and it's like
how you got there is awesome.
I wonder why you decided to change that. So I like some of those behind the scenes things. I was just reading a book about the Scream series, and they were talking about like the original endings of some of them, who they wanted to be the killer in some of them. And it was like, and so they gave the reasons where it was like, oh, we want it to be this character, but then the producer thought it would be too much blank. And so we changed it to this. And it's like, see, I would only ever know it as that person is the bad guy or that person dies or whatever it is. But how interesting would that have been to watch that version, the original version of it, and how like different would that have made the viewing experience or the listening experience? And I like that stuff. I think it's cool.
I like it. I think that's awesome. I have a comic culture moment for you, if you're ready.
After all the pop culture things we just talked about, Halloween, Scream, Hamilton.
Yeah, this is kind of a yes or no, which you can develop a little bit. But I thought it was interesting. We're covering Blade today.
No, we're not. No, we're not. We're covering Spawn today.
Let me try that again. We're covering Spawn today.
We are.
And I'm going to leave that in. In the early 90s, the comic book world was ruled by the two giants of Marvel and DC. And they owned everything, right? They owned the stories, the characters, the world, the paychecks, all that. And those artists could really pour their blood, sweat, and tears into creating these icons. But once the character hit the page, then they belonged to the company, not the creator.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we get Todd McFarlane, the rock star who helped redefine Spider-Man with those wild poses and the dripping webs and the moody energy.
I have the Todd McFarlane Spider-Man collection, like
Do
in
you?
one volume. It's so
That's
good. I
awesome.
love his take on Spider-Man. It's so good.
But he and legendary other creators like Jim Lee, Eric Larson, Mark Silvestri, they decided they were done playing the corporate game. And so in 92, they walk away and they found Image Comics.
Yes.
Which is sort of this rebellion idea, which is we're going to own what we create. And from that came Spawn.
Yes, and we also had Savage Dragon was a part of Image Comics. I think the Max was.
And I think what was great about that is that suddenly storytellers are now entrepreneurs, right? They're building their brands and they're creating their worlds. And that opens the door for things like what we would eventually get, like The Walking Dead and Invincible and dozens of other things that never would have survived under Marvel or DC formulas. So here's my question. When creators step out of the big machine, they gain freedom. Is that a good thing as far as narrative legacy? Are we better off when they step out and they do their own thing? Or is it better to keep it all inside the house so that we maintain creative autonomy?
Are you asking, do we, the audience, benefit? Do the creators benefit? Or does the character benefit? Like, which are you asking? Because I think those are different answers.
I think the character, because the audience will ebb and flow depending on culture. I think the storytellers don't lack for creativity because that's a gift. But I think the character as a whole.
I mean, I think that there are few and far between characters from independent um, publications that have a wide-reaching audience. I think characters like Spawn, Hellboy, The Walking Dead, Invincible, Scott Pilgrim, those all came, those kind of had later success when they were making movies and TV shows and whatever about those characters. But I think the ones that really set a standard would be Spawn and Hellboy, especially in the 90s. And I think that in that time there was an audience for those characters because they were gritty, they were dark, they weren't as, I mean the 90s comics weren't really family friendly, but they weren't, the family friendly characters like Spider-Man and Superman, these were very flawed characters and they were very, they really, they were dealing with things like hell and demons and monsters and good versus evil. I don't think many characters will have that kind of far reach like your major DC and Marvel guys do. But I think that there can be something special about a creator owned and published character that does have the opportunity to explode like Hellboy and Spawn into their own movies and TV shows and comic series crossovers, all that kind of stuff. I think can be really fun, really cool, and really beneficial. But I don't think that it serves the characters as well as it could. I think it's good for the creator because you own your characters. You can do what you want with them, you can change them, you can write whatever stories you want, and you don't have anyone to answer to tell you we can't do that because it's supposed to be this. Well, no, I created him. He can be whatever I want him to be. I think the audience benefits because you get stories that you might not get from your Marvel and DC regularly scheduled programming, you know what I mean? And listen, I love DC and I love Marvel and I love the comics and stories that they've been telling for years. But I think, a comic that I loved last year was called Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. That's not a book you would have gotten. That's not a book anybody would have, or Something is Killing the Children. That's not stuff you would have gotten 10, 15 years ago that would have the same reach as it does now because of the standards set by Spawn, Hellboy, Wildstorm, and those kinds of characters and companies because they were just being bought up by the big machines. So that was a big, long, heavy-winded answer to do I think the character benefits? Yes, I think the character benefits because the character can develop without a lot of handcuffing, but I don't know that they will always have the same reach as Batman and Spider-Man and the Avengers and Justice League because they don't have DC behind them and Marvel behind them and the movies and TV machine behind them. So I think it kind of depends on the appeal of the character and the how much intention the audience has to seek that stuff out.
I would agree 100% with you. And audience, do you agree with us? Drop us a comment on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and let us know what you think about whether or not the industry machines should release creativity to the artist.
Yes, indeed. Now, what do you think? Just before we get into this, they recently released.
What do I think about this movie?
No,
Ooh.
well, I know you probably think about this movie, but they just recently did a crossover with Spawn and Batman, and they also just they like recently, as in it's only on issue 3 called DCKO, where it's this like giant like battle world kind of thing, and they're bringing in characters like Omni-Man, uh, Spawn, I think Sub-Zero. What do you think about like these creator-owned characters crossing over with your big timers? Like, do you like that, or do you think like they should stay in their own yard and play, and we should keep these guys in this yard and play, and not have a lot of visitation?
Yeah, I'm kind of the purist. Like, just stay in your own yard. I don't need it. I'm glad you create it, but it's not for
Right,
me.
like I'm glad Batman
Like,
exists. I'm glad Spawn exists. I don't need them to have a team up. They can exist in their own worlds, and I can enjoy them separately.
yep, that's just me.
Because I don't think it always works. I kind of agree. I think it's always a cool idea, and I just don't usually think it's executed to what I would want it to be. So, but speaking of Spawn, and speaking of not being what I wanted it to be, we got a movie to cover today from the hot 90s.
It's very generous you calling it a movie, but
Actually, you know what's funny is that this was literally Hot 97. Uh,
hey,
shout
look
out
at
to Radio
that.
Days because it came out in 1997. That's funny.
Well, let's get through this synopsis. The quicker we get through it, the quicker we can go home.
You know, I don't think I've ever been less excited to cover a movie.
May it be known on the podcast. This was not my suggestion.
Okay,
You wanted to cover
I was
this.
looking for a spooky Halloween themed comic book movie. There aren't,
And
there
boy, did
aren't,
you find it.
scores and scores of them. And to be fair, I don't think I've seen this movie for 20 something years. So I had no idea
Oh, this
what
was a first time
we were getting
viewing
into.
over here.
Okay, well, again, but that happens with you with some of these 90s movies because this happened with you with Ninja Turtles. You look at it from an eye of, this is a 30-year-old movie that you're watching for the first time. Whereas I saw it as a kid, and even if it doesn't have that same like nostalgia feeling as others,
Yeah.
that's a I don't want to say it's an unfair thing, but like you're coming
But
in without having the childhood wonder of seeing something like a comic book on the screen. You know what I mean?
but given the everything you know about me, do you really think I was going to be watching this movie in the
Well,
90s?
no, but also I feel like that would have been something you would have like maybe sought out as rebellion in your
No.
older-ish, but not quite as old as now years.
Yeah, here, let me rebel with a plot synopsis. Cue the stupid music.
No, you got to put that 90s.
All right. Cue that. Here we go. Imagine a world where Batman and Ghost Rider had a baby inside the world of the Power Rangers, and that baby was raised by the Spirit Halloween store in the mid-90s computer animation era. Meet Al Simmons, a top-secret assassin who's betrayed by his boss, burned alive, sent to hell, and then somehow gets drafted into Satan's army as a hellspawn. He returns to Earth with superpowers, a cape that does whatever it wants, and a face that looks like a barbecue accident at a wax museum. His mission? Kill people for hell. But instead, he fights back, teams up with a homeless prophet, argues with a clown who looks like Danny DeVito ate a balloon animal, and saves his wife from emotional confusion? All of these things are real in a movie, and I am not making them up. In the end, will Al choose good over evil? Screaming a lot and jumping into bad CGI is certainly an option. Join us for the movie where the devil looks like a melted candle and every scene feels like a Mountain Dew commercial directed by Satan in 1997's Spawn. Dun dun dun!
Well, that was really good. Really accurate. That might be my favorite one. That might be my favorite one. But we are doing Spawn from 1997, and it stars Michael Jai White, John Leguizamo, Martin Sheen, Teresa Randall, Nicole Williamson, and directed by Mark A.Z. Dippé. Now, there's an accent over the E, so I'm assuming you pronounce his name Dippé. Maybe it's Dippy, Dippy,
Dupois.
Dipois. But
Who knows?
needless to say,
Either way,
yeah.
Needless to say, this film sucks.
Let's just get through the very minor good thing. Now, well, let me ask this: do you have other? Because I have a bunch of other, but more about the character than the movie.
I have one other.
Is it about the movie or about the character in general?
Yeah, well, just the film as a whole.
Okay. All right. So, do you want to get through the? You want to jump through these very few good things? I think this will take about 5 minutes.
Let's put 5 minutes on the clock. Here we go.
All right.
The actors, they're good. Michael J. White, that is a man who is committed. There's about 60 pounds of prosthetics on there. Somehow he made burned corpse superhero look sympathetic. John Leguizamo's clown, he's horrifying, he's gross, but he's clearly having a blast.
Oh, yeah.
I think the dude deserves hazard pay and a tetanus shot, but and I like Martin Sheen, no matter what he's in. I think he's great. And so from that standpoint, actors having a fun time, great job.
Yes, and I think you're right. I think John Leguizamo is having the most fun I've ever seen him have in a movie.
Yep.
For good or bad, he's having a good time.
Yeah. Somebody is.
I kind of relate it to the time that Arnold Schwarzenegger had in Batman and Robin. Like, those two guys knew what kind of movie they were in, and they just were like, I mean, I'm getting paid. I might as well have a good time with it. Might as well go all in.
The only other thing I have is the cape. This is certainly a character in the movie long before Doctor Strange showed up.
Uh-huh.
Now, occasionally the CGI works, but for a brief second, you kind of look at it and you go, that's kind of sick. It looks pretty good.
No, never did. Not once. Hated it.
Well,
actually, no, that's not true. One scene at the very end, I think it's at the end, when it's like flowing around him and you have that shot that's like a comic book cover. That was pretty cool.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool
That's all
scene.
I have. You got 3 minutes left.
All right. I like the way they did Spawn's suit. I think Spawn's suit, the prosthetic of it, looks pretty cool and is pretty accurate to the way the comic looks. And I feel the same way about the Violator's makeup. The Violator is the clown. And again, we've talked about this, I think, in our Ninja Turtles episode, that we are both big fans of practical effects, prosthetics, costume makeup, that kind of stuff. I think stories like this can serve them really well.
True.
And I think it did that in this. I like the makeup and the suit. Did it fail? Yes. but it was ambitious for the time. This was not your a main character. He was a huge character in the 90s, but this was not your household name of superheroes. So the fact that they decided to, you know, fund a whole movie about him, that was ambitious. And I think that this is best viewed as an experimental film because it does not
Yep.
have the normal beats of a comic book movie or a superhero movie or any kind of movie really. So it's a weird experimental movie, and I think that it is best if you view it as such. Lastly, I like the music. Music was fun. It's very 90s. It fits the kind of tone they were going for. I like that, like, that kind of 90s metal kind of thing. I liked it. So that's all I have for good.
That's it. I have one other.
How much time did we have left on the clock?
Less than 5. It didn't take long.
It didn't take all of the 5 minutes. Yeah, that's all I got for good. But I got a couple of other things.
The only other I have is that I have to give the devil his due, pun intended, that this film paved the way for things like Blade and Black Panther. Like, this was first. Like, yeah, we say Blade was the first. Nope. This one came first. No?
Steel came first with Shaq.
Is that a comic book?
Yeah, Steel is a Superman character.
Oh. Well, then I have no other.
But I think that because that was like gimmick casting. This one they cast an actual actor to play an actual character. So I think this.
Which, if you're not familiar with Michael J. White, he's in The Dark Knight.
Yes, he did the whole pencil, the pencil
Yeah,
scene.
he's the pencil guy.
He's also in the Arrowverse as Bronze Tiger, and he's I don't know if you've ever seen videos of him, both in movies and like his own stuff. He's an exceptional martial artist. Like you don't get to see any of that played out in this movie, and I don't know if this was pre him like doing that maybe, but he is an incredible fighter. He's terrific. So watch some video. Go find some videos of Michael J. White doing martial arts stuff, both in and out of movies, and it's pretty impressive.
There you go.
All right, so I got some other things. Malbolgia is the devil
Villain
in this, and he is voiced by Frank Welker. And if you don't know who Frank Welker is, he is mostly known for doing a lot of animal sound effects for both TV and film animation of all the different Warner Brothers, Disney. Like he did all the lion roars in The Lion King. He did the voice of the cricket in Mulan, so stuff like that. But he is mostly known for being the voice of both Fred Jones and Scooby-Doo in most of the Scooby-Doo cartoons.
Nice.
So he was the voice of Malbolgia, which is a fun little thing. Also, Greg Nicotero did the practical effects. And if you don't know Greg Nicotero, he is horror movie royalty when it comes to practical effects and special effects in regards to anything gory, anything spooky, anything horror or gory related. Greg Nicotero is the king of that. So I like that they had. When I say that this was ambitious for the time, it was that they had like big names attached to this, some big names attached to this, like Martin Sheen and John Leguizamo, and Greg Nicotero and Frank Welker, and then did what they did with that. There was Now this is going to lead into bad, but there was so much story in the comics. Like Spawn has a rich history of storytelling, and they used just none of it. They just used none of it, and that's such a shame because Todd McFarlane, really poured his heart and soul into Spawn comics, and it's just a shame that it really did injustice to it. And also, this is my personal feeling. Todd McFarlane is also a toy designer, and he designs a lot of Spawn toys, but he also does the DC multiverse toys. So if you see DC toys in, your Walmart or Target or whatever, most of them will be from McFarlane Toys, and I love his toy designs. He does a great job with that stuff. They are the best. The same year this came out, there was also an I want to say it's an animated series. It's not really an animated series in the traditional sense of like Batman the animated series where like you get, 22 half-hour episodes. It was like 3 movies that were split into 3 parts apiece, so they were like 9-hour-long episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But that is so much better. So if you like the Spawn character from the 90s and you want a really good Spawn viewing, skip this, go find the animated series. I think you could watch the whole thing on Max. But that's so much better than this movie was. And Spawn was a cultural icon of the 90s, and they failed him.
They very much did. With that, let's take a brief break and hear a word from our sponsor.
Straight from the bowels of hell comes a new form of entertainment. No longer will your office parties, kids' birthdays, or mass casualty events be boring. Now with Violator Entertainment, our unique performers will make any event a scream. Book one of our specially trained party clowns to perform at your special event and have balloon animals made from intestines, bugs, fire, and adult language, all for one low, low price. What's that price, you ask? Just your undying loyalty to lead the armies of hell. And your soul. Call and book your special entertainer now, because remember, at Violator Entertainment, we say destroy the cosmos, ask questions later.
All right.
This actually was one of my favorite ones to write, I have to say. I enjoyed this one.
I'm going to give you a Romero on that. It's, I can't, like I told you off mic, I can't separate how bad this was. I don't want to punish you. Nah, I'll give you a Nicholson.
All right.
This movie's so bad.
Oh, it's pretty terrible.
Let me go through, like, I don't want to, we could be here all day.
We really could.
Let's admit that. I don't want to do that. First of all, Rotten Tomatoes, 17%.
Higher than I thought it would be, to be perfectly honest.
That's interesting.
I thought, listen, I've seen movies that are lower. I've seen movies that are rated lower that are better than this to watch.
Yeah.
So I feel like 17 is too high.
It's being generous. I felt like there is no humor. I did not laugh at all. What they attempted for humor was just a swing and a miss. It was not funny.
Okay, so I have here that where you think there's no humor, I thought there was too much humor in that there was too many attempts at puns, none of which were funny.
Yeah.
But like Violator with the constant like, I dub you Sir Crispy. Oh, you look like a waffle iron. Yeah, slept with a waffle iron or whatever they are. Like there was too many of them. None of them worked. And then Spawn had too many one-liners as well, trying to get those like, the 90s was when superhero movies loved having that stuff in there. So, but no, none of them worked.
Yep.
So I'm with that.
I'm not going to nitpick, but I'm going to hit a couple things and they're all under the category that I'm calling what the hell.
All
right.
Because he's from hell.
First in what the hell. Yeah, the plot makes no sense. Half the movie's flashbacks, half of it's dream sequences, or it's a hell loading screen.
Also,
that makes no sense.
Also, do you hate, speaking of the flashbacks and stuff, do you hate all the like special effect transitions?
Yeah.
Like between scenes, between flashbacks, when you're moving from like Spawn and Violator to Martin Sheen and his, whatever his second in command. There were these weird, like, sometimes it was green fire, sometimes it was red fire, sometimes it was bugs, sometimes it was terrible.
It was dumb. How the hell did hell recruit him so fast?
What do you mean?
He dies, and then within minutes of hitting hell, he's already got a full armor set, he's got a contract, and a demon recruiter. Like HR in hell apparently moves faster than Amazon.
Well, okay.
There's
So
no and there's no mention of why he's chosen, why he's special, what qualifies him. There's no
there is
explanation.
in the very beginning. Now I'm not defending that it was good, but there is an explanation. Violator is meeting with Martin Sheen's character. What's his name? Jason Wynn, and
Yeah.
says something to him about how Simmons is the best killer that hell has ever seen, or something like that, which is why Wynn
Oh.
sets him up to be uh sets him up to be killed, because that was part of the contract. So they do say the reason that he was chosen is because he's so proficient at killing. But what's weird is that you're choosing a guy who has a conscience, because
True.
his last mission, innocent people died, and that's why he wanted out. So it doesn't make, they do give a reason, but it's it's a inconsistent reason, because Simmons clearly has some morals in there.
Yeah. I don't like that hell is literally one room. What is this? The DMV?
You know, one big cavern.
Yeah. Um all right, that's kind of my what the hell. There's some like weird things like the subplot with the kid that goes nowhere. The little girl befriends him, but that leads to nothing. Like, there's no
the
emotional.
unhoused kid.
Yeah, like there's no impact on the story. It's like attempting to remind you that he's good, but he's not. How Terry doesn't recognize Al is a little bit ridiculous.
How
It's like it's your best friend. You don't recognize that his voice, his mannerisms, the fact that he's 7 foot muscular hanging around your house, like you don't recognize that?
well, I mean, to be fair, it had been 5 years, and he looks very different.
He looks like Deadpool and Thanos had a baby.
What did he say?
A really ugly baby.
Yep. And then the last thing I'll talk about, which again, we could go for days. The main issue I have is the sometimes problem. What are the rules of his powers?
Yeah.
It's like sometimes the cape can fly, sometimes it can't. Sometimes he's bulletproof, sometimes he bleeds, sometimes he teleports, other times he trips over things. There's just no consistency. It is chaos with latex. That's it.
No, I'm with that.
And for somebody who's not as familiar with the character or the backstory, it's like, I'm using this to anchor my understanding on a character, and you can't even get his powers right.
No, yep, you're 100% right.
And that's really all I need to say. What do you got?
There's two. No, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think it's done really badly. The slow mo is really bad. This is I like Zack Snyder's slow mo, but
What?
this is done like garbage.
This is frame by frame.
Yeah, this is badly done. The effects don't hold up, and I can't even look at them and be like, but it's so like deliciously 90s that like you can't help but enjoy the effects. No, these are done bad
No.
even for the time. Don't like it.
Particularly because, and here's what you need to remember, Lord of the Rings was only 4 years away.
Yeah.
This was the year of Jurassic Park. Like, there's no excuse
Jurassic
for
Park
this.
was actually 4 years earlier than this.
When was Jurassic Park? 93?
Jurassic Park was 93. This was 97. Now, granted, it probably didn't have as big a
Ooh.
budget as Jurassic Park did, but I don't know what they used that money for.
Did you know that Peter Jackson has gone on record to say that when he saw Jurassic Park, he knew he could make Lord of the Rings?
Oh, I did not know that. That tracks though. That's
Like,
cool. I like that.
Jurassic Park was what gave him the vision to say the technology is close enough. If we develop it a little more, I can make the Lord
That's
of the
cool.
Rings.
Love that.
Don't love this movie, but love that.
Why does hell need the help of a human?
Science. By the way, I do that now in my regular life. Whenever I can't explain something, I just quote you and go, science. Yeah, that makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, doesn't make any sense. The assassination that Simmons does at the beginning with whoever those dignitaries were getting off the plane, that was super excessive for 3 people. You didn't need to blow up the whole plane, bro. Terrible acting, terrible writing and dialogue. Weird transitions.
Dialogue went through a blender.
Then the inconsistent narration. is weird. The inconsistent tones of the movie. Is this a horror movie? Is it supposed to be this like irreverent comedy? Is it a comic book movie? It's trying to do all of those, none of them well, and not a good blending of them either. Heat 16 is a
Speaking
stupid
of
name.
blending, there's
Hold on, I'm on a roll. Heat 16 is a stupid name and a stupid plan, and there's no explanation for not wearing the cape and not wearing the mask when he's going on mission, and I hate that because they do that in Marvel, and it bothers me, but that's to show the actor's face. You're not showing the actor's face because he's got so much burn prosthetic on him. Why isn't he wearing the Spawn mask? That's what makes him look awesome. The only time he looks awesome in this movie is when he's wearing that mask, and he wears it for like 5 seconds of the movie. Okay, you were going to say?
You good?
Yes.
Speaking of balance, you were talking about tone. Like, where the hell is heaven? Like, if this is a tug of war between good and evil, where's the counterbalance? Like, theologically speaking, it's like watching one side not show up to a battle, but there's like no angelic intervention. Like, there's nothing pulling at him when he's wanting redemption. Like, he wants to love, he wants the free will, but like there's no presence of the antithesis of the locations he's in.
I think the side of good is meant to be Cagliostro is meant to represent that side of goodness.
Maybe.
Which, speaking of Cagliostro, they do a they do your standard 90s movie training montage near the end of the movie. Like, he's already done so much.
Now let's train.
And Spawn has already done so much since he's returned to Earth that now you're like, oh, here's how the chains work. Here's how the cape works. Here's how your powers work and all that stuff. It's like, well, he probably could have used this several days ago when he was first going on this revenge mission.
Would have been nice.
Ridiculous. I have a couple more things still. This is not a Spawn problem. This is a many movie problem. Nanotechnology.
OMG science.
Like, whenever they need a random explanation for something that they're doing, whether it's the good guy or the bad guy, it's always like, oh, well, I made this using nanotech. What does that mean? I don't know, but I made it using nanotech, so that sounds super sciencey, and because I can't explain it, you probably can't explain it, which means that's how I did it. I'm going to start using that in my regular life, where it's like, wow, how did you let this happen? Nanotech, I had a plan, nanotech was involved, and things happened.
Dad, why can't we trick or treat later? Well, nanotechnology.
Yeah, that's a big thing. The last two things I have. One, the ending is stupid. I just think it's a nothing ending. Nothing happens. It's just an ending.
Well, there's no moral. It's like, what is the walk away? Hell is real, and you should get revenge, redemption, free will, love, environmental toxins. Nobody knows.
Yeah, yes to all of them. My last thing is
why
Martin Sheen makes a why. Well, actually, it is a why. There's a big I know that Martin Sheen's character is like suspicious of Violator, and he's like planning to turn on him and hell. He says as much.
'Cause it's what he does.
And that's fine. But why does he think it's such a good idea for him to have a dead man switch attached to his heart? I understand why Violator would suggest it, because then the bad thing will happen whether he lives or dies. You know what I mean? But
the other thing too is like,
without thinking about it, he's like, "That's a great idea. I'll arrange that right away," and he arranges it immediately for open heart surgery. Immediately, that is crazy. What an insane
But let's just
leap.
say, okay, they decided that was a good idea. Great. If Wynn dies, then the bomb triggers and destroys the world. But then Spawn rips it out of his chest and nothing happens? So either the bomb is fake or physics takes the day off. It cannot be both.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Ugh. I hate this movie.
I could go on and on and on with things I didn't like, and I could get real nitpicky. But it is,
I think the people get the gist.
you get the gist. It's no good. It's a no good.
He said no good.
Just ask me the question. Do you want to watch this movie again?
Do you want to watch this movie again?
Never.
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 It's time to stop, okay? No more.
So I just wanted an opportunity to throw it in there, and that felt like the best way to do it.
No worries. All right. Here's my spiritual thought.
All right.
Spawn wants to do good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He has been wronged, he's been betrayed, he's been murdered, and then when he comes back, he wants to set things right. But the tragedy I saw is that he's trying to fight justice using hell methods. He uses violence, he uses manipulation, he uses rage. All of his motives aren't necessarily bad, but his means and his mechanisms are broken.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we fall into the same mindset. We want what's right. We want what's true. We want justice. We want change. We want systemic growth and health for the environments that we find ourselves in. But then we try to achieve it using the world's weapons. And I use weapon intentionally. We use gossip with gossip. We fight pride with pride. We use hurt to combat hurt. And then we start believing that because our cause is good, then the cost doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how we get it. It just matters that we do it. But the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven, does not use the kingdom of hell's weaponry. The verse I found was in John 18:36. It says, it's Jesus talking, and he says, "My kingdom is not of this world. If it were, my servants would fight to prevent my arrest, but now my kingdom is from another place." And Jesus is kind of saying, like, you can't build this kingdom the way the earth would build it.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you're swinging for the right thing, even when you're going for the right cause, the wrong weapon will only draw blood.
Right.
And like that's all Spawn is finding. It's that, yeah, you might feel justified in this, but you're using the wrong thing to do it. And so I think for us, the reminder is like you can't defeat darkness with darkness. You can only use light to expose darkness. And maybe that's honestly the hardest part of following Jesus, realizing that sometimes the most Christ-like victory in our lives doesn't look like winning. It actually looks like surrender. It looks like losing. It looks like the things that we probably wouldn't gravitate towards, but that is what it looks like to quote, wage war in the kingdom of God.
That's good. I'm surprised you got something so deep from this. But I also like that you say this is my spiritual thought, not this is the spiritual content I found.
No, it's a thought. It's not content.
It's a thought, and I
It's
found
inspired by a true story. Have you ever heard that Mitch Hedberg where he said, "I like inspired by a true story"? Hey, did you ever hear that story where the guy saved the woman from drowning? Yeah, and that inspired me to write a movie about a gorilla.
it.
What do you got?
My thought was about Cogliostro. So Cogliostro was the original, or one of the original Hellspawns. He was supposed to be the leader of Hell's army, and it just turned away from it. And he acts as sort of a mentor to Spawn. He's trying to explain to him, like, this isn't the right path. Here's how you use your powers. Here's how you resist evil and your fate despite the way that you were created. And that resonated with me because when we go on our own spiritual journeys, they shouldn't be taken alone. Wherever you are in your spiritual journey, whether faith is something you're new to, or you're going through deconstruction, or you're finding your way through how you were raised into what you believe now, it's important that we find people that we can trust to guide us, and not only to guide us, but just to field our questions, whatever those may look like, and wherever you're at. It's important to find some kind of mentorship, and it doesn't always have to be the same person. It can change based on where you are in your faith, where you are in how it's developing. So it doesn't have to be the same person who develops with you, but it could be this person met this need and that person met this need. But, that kind of walk should never be taken alone. And we see that a lot in the Bible with, Moses and Joshua, Paul and Timothy, Elijah and Elisha. With some of these great characters of the Bible, there was always a mentor and a mentee, and it was for the time that they needed. Um, the main part of discipleship, if we're called to make disciples, one of the main parts of discipleship is to learn from those who came before, learn from those who are teaching. So I think that when you're starting on a spiritual journey, and you see this in so many characters of, as well, especially of comic book movies, you see it with Cogliostro, you see it in the Dark Knight trilogy, you saw it with both Alfred and Ra's al Ghul. You see that with Tony and Peter in the Spider-Man movies. Having someone who's been where you are and who understands where you are and can help guide you through to the next phase is instrumental in continuing to make your way through what you believe, how you believe, why you believe. So I think that that's something we all need more of and should not take for granted if you have it.
Baller. I love it. Let's rate this, even though we know what a rating is. I'll go first.
Well, okay, go ahead.
This sucks. It's a Clooney. Let's move on. Watching this movie was a hell itself. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Does not recommend. 0 Michelin stars.
We get
Have a
it.
nice day.
We get it.
Thank you for coming to our TED Talk.
We get it. All right, now.
Did you not rate it that?
Okay, so here's where I was.
Oh,
struggling.
you and your nostalgic little 90s self.
No, it has nothing to do with nostalgia. This is a bad movie. This is a bad movie. But to me,
Thank you.
There's two ways to look at it. There's two ways to look at bad movies. This is a terrible movie. I'll always remember it as a terrible movie, and there's nothing redeeming about it, and whatever, this is a bad movie. Or this was a bad movie, and I just want to purge it from my mind. It was so bad that it's not even worth remembering how bad it is, because I want to just forget about it when I have so much good that I can rely on. So I think where I'm landing is a Kilmer, which is forgettable. Is it terrible? Yes. Is it a bad movie? Yes. But it's not like other movies that we've rated Clooney are a part of my comic book movie, experience. Like, you rated Ghost Rider pretty low.
Sure.
Or a movie like, the Fantastic Four. They were a part of my comic book movie experience. Spawn is bad in a way that once we're done with this episode, I'm probably going to forget about it. Like, if you asked me to,
As you should.
list every comic book movie you could think of, that would probably be one that I would have to be reminded of existing. So I think I'm going to go with Kilmer, that it's just forgettable. Not that it's not bad, but I want to not remember it. So that's where I'm going.
Fair enough. What'd you think, audience? Drop us a comment on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube about what you thought about this cinematic adventure. You can follow us right here on YouTube and on Apple Podcast and Spotify. And we are available for all your emotional and spiritual needs.
I mean, not all of them. I'm not qualified to be there for all of them. Joey kind of is.
I probably don't want all of them.
I definitely don't want all of them, but I'm definitely not qualified to deal with any of them. I can barely deal with my own. So I don't know that.
That's true. Actually, we're not qualified at all. Don't tell us anything about yourself.
Do not write. Do not write. Do not email. Do not comment. Do not send carrier pigeon. Do not call. Do not text. You will not get the answers you are searching for here.
Ask an adult before logging onto the internet.
Yes, or before talking to one of us about anything. But at any rate, it's time to head out of here. This was a nightmare to sit through, but it closes out our Halloween season, and I'm ready to move into the next phase of comic book movies. So,
Happy Halloween.
happy Halloween. Enjoy your holiday. Get lots of candy. Don't get sick. Stay safe. And remember, where you're going, every day is Halloween. Listen, I've been better about keeping them short.
You've been great. Oh, so bad. Well,
It's terrible. It was a nightmare.
We did it.
We did
And now
it.
that it's been done, we never have to do it again.
And thank God this is a movie that doesn't have any sequels, so it's not like we have to revisit this world ever again, you know? That's nice.